You were featured in the Office Max article, and of course that's where You've Been Sentenced got mentioned. And you already had the game at that point.
Yes.
So, have you been using the game in the classroom?
Yeah, Dr. Nardo had given us a bunch of educational games last year that she thought would be really important to start implementing into our classroom just to increase students' practice of the skills that they've already mastered, a fun way to practice skills that you've already mastered. You've Been Sentenced was one of them, and I thought it was really innovative, especially because it had the pentagon shapes, you had those 5 different sides, and really expanded sentence structure and language, and it was a little silly too, and kids love that. They get to love to have fun while they're also learning about sentence structure.
Have you seen benefits for the kids from playing You've Been Sentenced?
It's just interesting to see that they'd be excited to pick up an educational game. Usually at an indoor recess time you want to see them play something like Uno or something that's not as language based, but they love You've Been Sentenced and they love getting to build the sentences even if they are a little silly, and also other educational games they've kind of all gravitated towards now, and I think it's because we've made them such a vital part of the classroom.
Wow, that's great. And do you see games being more involved in curriculum in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we already use math games with our Everyday Math program, and that's one of the core components, but now getting to see that expanded to language is really exciting.
Gotcha. Do you see how You've Been Sentenced could fit into curriculum in some way?
Because we do grammar instruction, so it would be a fun way to practice. Instead of just writing a sentence, you can build a sentence, and you can actually have that hands-on interaction with the words.
Wow, that's great. Well, thank you so much.
And thank you for everything you've done for us. This has been a wonderful experience and opportunity.
Thanks.
And I've been teaching for about 9 years.
Wow, no kidding.
I know, it's a long time.
Now I understand Dr. Nardo actually gave you a copy of You've Been Sentenced
Yes.
prior to my coming back up here today.
She did, yes, and I wasn't familiar with the game prior to her giving it to me, but she told me about it in her office the one day, and I said, I'd love to try it with my kids. So one day I pulled it out, and we actually started using it as one of our skill group stations to practice word study. And we read the directions together, and I was learning with them because I had never played before. But learning the directions with them and then actually playing with them, it was amazing. I mean, they came up with some sentences that were better than the ones that I had been coming up with. But of course I got better quicker than they did. But still, it was a wonderful practice, and they were able to really pick out nouns and verbs too within the game. So
Were the instructions easy to understand?
yes, very easy. We did stay away from the point values just because they get a little too competitive. And for a learning procedure, we just stuck with the actual formatting of the sentence. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Have you used other games in the classroom?
Yes, we have used other games in the classroom like Apples to Apples.
Okay.
And there are many other games that students bring in and then we play during inside recess, but never quite in the way that I used You've Been Sentenced. It's a very challenging game, and it matches right with our curriculum. So, you know, it was wonderful to use that game to teach word study. So
Wow.
I hope to continue using it because the kids loved it. And then I want to use those sentences and write them down, and then maybe build paragraphs off of those sentences. There's lots of things you can do with the game.
We do have a lesson plan up on our website,
Really?
which shows you how to actually do exactly what you just said, though.
Oh,
Is once
wow.
the kids have created a great sentence, you have them write it down, take it home, and incorporate it into a story.
Yeah, and draw pictures from that, even maybe build a book off of what they first came up with in the game. I mean, there's so many variations to using the game. So, thank you. It's
Have you
awesome.
opened the add-on decks yet? Or?
No,
Okay.
Dr. Nardo did give those to me too, but we started off small because I teach 3rd grade, so they need a lot of
Gotcha.
explicit instruction, one-on-one, step-by-step directions, so
And
we'll get there.
Do you think it fits in 3rd grade level?
Oh, for sure. And I
Okay.
have a lot of students that need a lot of challenge, so it's perfect for the different areas of abilities. You know, my higher kids accelerate with it, and even my lower kids can work with it too. So.
Do you think it would be good to create a vocabulary add-on deck that was based on the 3rd grade level of words that you have to teach every year?
For sure. And even if those words can somehow match the state test in some way, because we do hear a lot of those vocabulary words day to day, but then they have to apply those onto the PSSA or the state test. So
Okay.
if some of those words are taken from the test, like even words like passage and addend and factor, you know, all over the curriculum, the math, the language arts, and insert those into the game, they could practice the vocabulary words in another way, which would be awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, there are a lot of different multiple ways to teach kids using the game, so it's awesome.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're so welcome.
And
Yeah.
I hope we can hear from your kids again with some funny sentences and,
And
so on.
we're planning on writing you a thank you letter because they love the games.
Just remember, when I read those thank you letters, I tear up, okay? So
I will remember that, and I'll keep that in the back of my mind as we write them to you.
Tim, I understand you've been playing the game of You've Been Sentenced in the classroom.
Yeah, we had. The kids are thrilled to play it. Whichever add-on pack or the main game they have, they just want the cards in their hands, figuring out the kind of the wackiest and most exciting sentence they can.
That's cool. Do you see how You've Been Sentenced can help teach them sentence construction and grammar? Absolutely,
can really help them form those complete sentences. Some students who struggle to get the different parts of the sentence together, you've done an excellent job putting in all the words that are needed and for that, so we can really manipulate the cards to make the complete sentence.
Oh, that's cool.
That makes sense.
What add-on deck seems to be the favorite of the students?
Right now, the NASA pack. Them pulling into different and helps them learn new parts of NASA and the universe. They don't know what different galaxies or the nebulas were, but we start talking about it and they were just looking at the different space agencies. It was pulled in the astronauts from the Italian space agencies, descended rapidly. So those were very vivid words that they were able to complete sentences.
That's cool. Do you think games should be used as part of curriculum in teaching?
Absolutely. The kids, it's not so much. It's more fun for them, and they don't realize. They do realize, but that they're learning. But it's more natural for them because they like to do that. They play all the time outside, and if you can connect that to learning, it's an added bonus.
That's great. As far as You've Been Sentenced goes, do you see where it's adding value and that it should be added to curriculum because it's adding a different value or reaching students in a different way that maybe some other students weren't able to grasp?
Yeah, it's more authentic, and they can make different sentences every time. They have the cards, the same deck. They can create thousands of sentences with those handful of cards, and it's more meaningful rather than a workbook page or just like an overhead with some sentences on it. They can come up with their own more unique ideas.
Have you been playing the game of You've Been Sentenced in the classroom?
We have. We've been using it probably once a week since you presented it to us, and we've been, very happy to have it in the classrooms. We've been using it about once a week, and the kids really love playing the game.
Wow, no kidding. Mm-hmm. Do you see the benefits from them playing the game?
Yes, I definitely do. As we're playing, they're talking about, what do I need to put into a sentence? What makes a sentence? And then we're talking about parts of speech. They're seeing if they have a verb and a subject, and seeing if their sentence makes sense. So they've really been learning from the game.
Wow, that's cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Do you think that games should be part of curriculum in general in schools?
I do, because it really extends their thinking in different ways that they don't get through maybe standard or traditional teaching methods. So it's a really different way to kind of extend their thinking and get them thinking in a different way. So it's really beneficial, and it's something they don't realize as much that they're learning because it's something so fun, and just that connection has been.
But you still see them learning just as much.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Do you think You've Been Sentenced fits the mold for being one of those games in curriculum?
Oh yeah, it really ties to our curriculum. Everything that we need to learn with our language skills and how it correlates to our reading skills. So it's really been a great connection overall.
Wow. What have you started to play with some of the add-on decks yet?
We do, yeah, we have. And
what's been the favorite of the kids for the add-on decks?
I think they've requested the food one a lot.
Gourmet cuisine.
Right, that one, and the sports. I think those have been the two big ones.
Yeah, that's great.
They've asked to play with those.
What add-on deck would you like to see developed?
Oh, that's a tough one. Maybe something with math, because we kind of play a lot with different math games too. So maybe to tie that in as well. That might be neat to see some of those math vocabulary words that we use a lot.
That's a good thought. So, I don't think we thought of that one yet.
Yeah,
so,
yes, that would be something neat to see.
I understand you guys have been playing the game of You've Been Sentenced in your classroom.
Yes, we have been.
The kids seem to be enjoying it?
Yes, they have an unbelievable time. It gets them to be creative. They get to use the different conjugations of the words to create all different types of sentences, and some of the sentences are just absolutely hilarious. So we'll have different groups of 4 to 5 students, and we'll be working. The noise level is pretty low because they're working very hard and coming up with sentences, and all of a sudden we'll hear a huge outburst of laughter, and I go over, and they are unbelievable sentences, how hilarious they are, and they make sense for the most part. It's very awesome.
Oh, that's great. Do you see how You've Been Sentenced could fit into curriculum for playing games in schools?
Absolutely. We use it mostly in reading, our reading curriculum. Just working with grammar and punctuation, we can add that in. I'll say, now where can we put a comma, where can we put an exclamation point, things like that. And even we were talking about a math game with different math words that we could use in those decks that we could incorporate into the math curriculum, and we can just use it in many different parts of our days. The NASA deck that we incorporate into science, we can use that in many different parts of the different curriculums that we have.
Gotcha. What seems to be some of the kids' favorites as far as the add-on decks are concerned?
They really enjoy the NASA because
Okay.
they like that science part of it, and also the sports deck.
Sports deck?
Yes.
A lot of boys hook
Yeah,
onto that
a lot
one?
of boys, they enjoy that because they have a lot of knowledge with those sports and those types of words. So, and also the history part of some of those decks that have different historical figures, they really get creative with how they can manipulate that historical person with their words they get.
Okay.
Yes.
And back to the historical figures then too. Have you started to point out who some of the historical figures are?
Yes, and that brings up a good point because we can activate their prior knowledge of who these people are, and then we can also teach them and go from what they think they know to actually what the information is about those people, and we're pulling all different information from many different subjects, and with the history we can connect to history, and if that person was known for science, we can bring that into science, and then reading and writing, and it connects to so many different subjects.
Wow, so You've Been Sentenced as really being a well-rounded educational tool.
Yeah, very well-rounded. We just can connect one deck to many different subjects, and we could take one deck and work months at a time with it, depending on the subject matter and what we're working on in terms of grammar and reading and things like that, and writing as well.
And in our classroom, I have a lot of students who are not quite at grade level, so we start playing the game as teams, and they work together, they come up with a strategy to make the sentences, and then the children that are having trouble forming sentences, they get some modeling from the students who can do it, and then they can go off on their own to do it. And I was noticing in our assembly how many of the kids said they play games, which was great because a lot of the kids, they don't play games anymore with their families, the board games, the card games you mentioned. And I thought about my own children at home, how often my wife and I played games with them, and they all really have good vocabularies and the thinking skills that are involved with it as well. It's not just the vocabulary, it's the strategy, there's math involved with keeping score. So all those things are important. I don't think children get that from their Xbox or their computer games.
That's fantastic. Do you think games should be part of curriculum in
Definitely,
schools?
definitely. We use the Everyday Math program, and games are built into that program, and that reinforces the skills and strategies you've taught throughout the unit with what you're doing.
And do you see that You've Been Sentenced does a similar type of thing with language?
Definitely. I just was watching them play now and listening to them without knowing what an adverb is. They could place it in different parts of the sentence without knowing what a preposition is. And some of them are saying, we don't have enough nouns. Like they realized in their 10 cards they only got one noun, so it made it difficult to stretch a sentence out.
Gotcha.
So it was definitely good.
I have just recently had the experience of playing You've Been Sentenced with my children. When this was occurring, yes, I lost. I lost by my students because their learning is growing and they are achieving things, but it was okay. We practiced our teamwork skills and we worked together and we had a good laugh afterwards. It's a very fun game, and a lot of my kids struggle with parts of speech, but as we have been practicing with this game, it makes us realize that every sentence needs a who, what, when, and maybe even where and why, depending on the length of the sentences. Sometimes you don't get the best cards, but you do the best you can, and that was my experience. Sometimes I didn't get great cards, but I had my students help me make the best sentence that I could out of what I was dealt.
Oh, and so you're going to blame the game that you didn't get good cards, and yet your students beat you. Okay, all right.
That's
I like
kind of
that.
how it's going to go.
Have you used other games as part of your class structure and in your curriculum?
We do often use a lot of mathematic games. You know,
Okay.
it's really hard to find a really important instructional language game, as we have discussed before. So when this came about, it was just a wonderful opportunity. I've done things like Mad Libs, and we've had charades where students are acting out vocabulary and learning that way. But to have that mathematical connection with the language has been a new experience for us, and
Wow.
it's definitely something that we're enjoying greatly, and we hope to see more decks added soon so that we can keep making those creative, crazy, and fun sentences that help us learn.
What has been the students' favorite add-on deck so far?
So far, they have liked the one that, is there a food one?
Yeah,
I think
the
there's a food
gourmet
one.
cuisine.
And I have to admit, that was my favorite as well.
I'm the foodie. I wrote that one. I admit it.
Congratulations, it was fantastic. We're really enjoying that, and just all of them. Even sometimes we mix them up to try to see if we can kind of get things making sense out of the different texts. So that's a fun challenge as well.
Do you think it would be smart for states to put You've Been Sentenced in as part of the curriculum into schools?
I absolutely do. It seems that, you know, these math games have been incorporated, but language is kind of missing, and worksheets are not always the best way to practice those skills. Getting an interactive experience is really what helps students cling onto what they're learning. So it really helps to have that hands-on, especially for the visual learners and the students that need that right in front of their eyes. It's really a good thing. I think it would be a great instructional tool to incorporate into curriculum. It's definitely something I would support as an educator here in Pennsylvania.
Wow, super. Thank you so much, and I hope
Thank
you'll
you.
continue to play. And
Absolutely.
I'd love to hear more from your students about more funny sentences.
Well, we do have some letters coming your way, so you will hear from us soon. Thank you so
All right.
much.
I understand you've been playing some of the games in the classroom.
Absolutely.
Have you seen how it's helping the kids at all, or?
Sure have. Some of the kids that sometimes struggle with making sentences, not sure of parts of speech with conjunctions, different prepositions, different nouns, they're not sure how to put them all together. They're building confidence by making sentences, and they're learning from one another. They're actually teaching one another that you know, that's not a complete sentence because it doesn't have a subject and a predicate, and it's really helped with the classroom environment. Some of the students that need a little more help are working with some of the students that are already strong sentence builders, and
Wow.
it's really benefiting the class.
Oh, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. I know that Dr. Nardo brought in a whole bunch of different educational games for you all. Do you think games should be involved as part of curriculum in schools?
Absolutely. I think games build on the foundation that is taught in school, and when kids have fun, they remember it, they learn it. It's that simple.
So You've Been Sentenced should be part of curriculum?
Absolutely.
That's what I want to hear. No, that's great. Thank you so much. And please enjoy, and have your students please continue to send in funny sentences and write to me and whatever. I really appreciate it.
We definitely will. Thank you.